Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you on Monday, the start of another week, the start, of course, of the week which sees the closure of the winter transfer deadline. That closes tomorrow night, 11 p.m. Are Arsenal going to be able to get anything done in terms of incoming before that deadline? That is the big question. So we'll look at that in this video. Of course, discuss what's going on with Moises Caicedo. A little bit of news about Marquinhos heading out on loan as well. And we've got to talk about Folarin Balogun. What a season he is having over in France on loan. Fantastic night again for him last night. So we've got to spend a little bit of time celebrating the success he is having in France. But let's start with the big transfer story involving Arsenal at the moment. Of course, Moises Caicedo, the saga. Can you call it a saga yet? It's only been going on a few days, but it kind of feels like it, as is the way with most big Arsenal transfers, really. Arsenal having another bid for Caicedo knocked back from Brighton. Yes, they reported that late last night. Brighton turning down a £70 million offer from Arsenal. It's about 65 million initial fee with a further 5 million in add-ons. That has been rejected, just like Arsenal's first offer, which was 60 million, was rejected, just like Chelsea's offer of 55 million was rejected. Brighton absolutely standing firm at the moment. They insist and continue to insist that Caicedo is not for sale. So the big question is, what will Arsenal do now? Will they go back and test the water yet again for a third time and hope this one changes Brighton's mind? I mean, it feels to me like it's going to have to be a very, very big bid to do that, because when you speak to people about this, Brighton are absolutely adamant they are not selling, and they have made that clear to Arsenal. So what do you do? Do you look elsewhere? Have you got time to look elsewhere to get something done? If you do, is it going to be more of a short-term option rather than a long-term option? That's the big question. Arsenal do not have much time to turn their attention elsewhere, and that is perhaps why they've gone back with a second bid, and perhaps why they will go back with a third bid. But we shall have to wait and see on that one. In terms of the actual chase of Caicedo, I can understand there's been a lot of talk really about how Arsenal are sort of acting in this. I don't think they've got anything to apologise for in terms of how they've gone about this move. Yes, I can understand Brighton's frustration at the kind of, maybe the timing of it. It's quite late in the window, but that happens. It's a transfer window. You get these sort of moves at the end of the window, and I don't think anyone can complain about the offers that Arsenal have made. It's perfectly up to Brighton whether they accept them or not, but I don't think you can look at the money that Arsenal have put down. £70 million for a player who has played, I think, 26 Premier League appearances. £70 million for a player of that inexperience in the Premier League. I don't think you can look at that and say that Arsenal have lowballed or anything like that when it comes to it, and that they've turned his head by offering silly money that Brighton were never going to accept. It's a very fair offer, just like I thought it was for Mudryk as well. So considering their experience, you look at what other players are going for, experienced Premier League international players. It's a massive amount of money, so I don't think you can criticise Arsenal for that. Like I said, I can understand Brighton's frustration. I can certainly understand their frustration at the fact that it's clearly affected Caicedo, and he's gone out, he's made this public statement. It's not put him in a good frame of mind. They've had to take him out of the squad for a while and tell him to come back after the transfer window is shut. So I can understand they're annoyed about that, because he's a key player and it's disrupted things at a crucial point of the season for them. But, Arsenal are well within their rights to make a bid for a player, and they've bid very, very good money for a player of his age, his inexperience. So I'm not sure you can really have a go at them for that. Whether this is all a big play by Brighton, in the end they decide right at the last minute, okay, we will sell him to him. But I don't know. I mean, like I said, it feels like it's going to take a really big offer. Whether Arsenal can do that in the space of a day, I just don't know. I mean, it's certainly one that's going to, you feel like it's going to run right up until the deadline, but we shall we shall wait and see. If it doesn't, then Arsenal don't have much time to do anything else, do they? And when you kind of look at the other possible midfielders who are around, are they going to be able to prize one of those away from the club at this late stage? It's going to prove to be difficult. So we'll see what happens with Caicedo. Anything that does, any developments that do happen, of course, I'll put them out on Goal and on my social media feeds to keep your eyes peeled for that one. But that's the latest. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think Arsenal should go in for one more bid for Caicedo? If you do, how much do you think they should offer? Is he worth it? Let me know anything about this transfer in the comments below. Okay, so one player who looks like he will be certainly leaving Arsenal before the end of the transfer window is Marquinhos. He is on his way to Norwich City on loan for the remainder of the season. Just needs to undergo a medical and put the final sort of touches to that move. It's not done yet, but it's certainly heading in that direction. Personally, I think that's a very good loan move for him. Championship feels like a good level. Still only 19. He's played sporadically in the first team since his move to Arsenal. He's certainly made a big impression, which is why they decided to keep him in the summer, because they could have sent him out on loan in the summer. But they thought, no, you know what? He looks pretty tasty. He looks pretty good. He's settling in well. He's been good around the place. So we're going to keep him, let him acclimatise. But this feels like a good time to loan him out now. He's had that sort of 6-7 months getting used to London, getting used to Arsenal, his teammates, the coaching staff. That will do him the world of good for the long term. But now he needs to go out. He needs to go out and play regularly at a decent level. And Championship is certainly that. Norwich feels like a good club. They play decent football. David Wagner is their coach now, who is a progressive manager as well. So I think that should do him good. I'm not surprised Arsenal opted to send him to a club like Norwich. There would have been a few clubs in for him. The way Arsenal deal with these loans, they sort of whittle it down to about 3 clubs, and then they make the final decision with Edu, Mikel having a say, Per Mertesacker having a say, Ben Napper, the loan manager, having a say, and then they'll decide on the best club. Whoever's put the best pitch forward. And Norwich have obviously done that, and they have won the race, because there definitely would have been a few clubs in for Marquinhos. It wouldn't just have been Norwich. This does not include an option for them to buy in the summer. So this is a straight loan until the end of the season. There is no option, which makes perfect sense, because Arsenal wouldn't be kind of considering just yet, cashing in on Marquinhos. He was bought as one for the future. He's had a decent first 6 months when you add what he's done for the under-21s, which has been good whenever he's played for them. Obviously scored 1 goal for the senior side in that game over at Zurich. Only played 1 Premier League appearance, but made 6 in all competitions. Started really brightly, perhaps faded a little bit in the latter games that he played for the first team. I think it was undoubtedly his best performance was that Zurich game when he made his debut. He scored, he set up a goal as well in that game. Looked really, really bright. Not quite happened for him since then whenever he's got an opportunity, but the ingredients are there for a good player. You can see he's only 19, still very, very young, still learning and adapting to England. But he's powerful. You can see that the way he runs. His physique is excellent. He doesn't look like a 19-year-old. He's got good trickery. He's got a decent shot on him. Can finish. So the ingredients there to be a decent player, and I think he just needs to go out on loan now, and that is a move that I do expect to happen before Tuesday's 11 p.m. deadline. And be interesting to see how he gets on. I think he'll do well in the Championship if he gets minutes. I mean, there's no guarantee. Arsenal would have asked Norwich, how much are you planning to play, and they would have got as much guarantee as they can. But ultimately, once he gets there, it all depends on his performances. If he plays well, get in the side. If he doesn't, then he'll end up on the bench. So ultimately, it's going to be down to Marquinhos how that loan goes. But on paper, looking at it right now, I think it looks like a decent loan deal for him and for Arsenal. Okay, Balogun. What a season he is having. What a moment for him last night. An injury time equaliser, 95th minute away at Paris Saint Germain at the Parc des Princes. Neymar had put PSG in front in the second half. It looked like it was going to be enough to get the win, even though Rima played really, really well. And then Balogun sent through one-on-one against Donnarumma, rounds the keeper really well. Brilliant finish into the roof of the net. Fantastic goal. 12 league goals for the season now. I think it might be 11 actually. He's third top scorer in League One. The only players ahead of him, Alexander Lacazette, who's one ahead of him, and then Kylian Mbappe. So, I mean, when you look at loans and whether they're successes or not, they aren't always, but you look at this one and it is turning into a massive success for Arsenal, certainly for Ream as well, and obviously for Balogun. He had a good loan spell at Middlesbrough last season in the second half of the season. He didn't score that many goals, but he played well and it was a good loan spell. And this felt like a big one for him because that was his first taste of senior football and he'd done it well. And then to sort of make the leap to go abroad, to go to France, it was a big decision for him. And he took it and he's absolutely nailed it since he's been over there. And you kind of look at how he's going to come back to Arsenal in the summer. Absolutely changed man. He's going to be so confident. He's going to have such good experience of playing at the top level in a proper, decent league against some top quality players. And he's going to have the fact that he's done really well. So that confidence is going to be really high. It'll be intriguing to see what Arsenal do with him next season. Do you bring him back? Do you start acclimatising him into the first team? Integrating him is probably a better word than acclimatising. Integrating him into the first team properly, having him as a real, third choice striker alongside Nketiah and Jesus, or do you look to send him out on loan again? Or do you look to sell? Because a lot of, you'll look at this and think, is he going to have a better loan spell at this? Is this going to be his ultimate value? It'd be really interesting to see what Arsenal do. I mean, he was speaking after the game last night. You saw before the match, Thierry Henry was there, and Balogun and Henry were speaking before the game. And he mentioned that. And he also, when he celebrated his equaliser, he went off to the corner flag and did the whole Henry celebration with the corner flag as well, which is a nice touch. He said it was a crazy night for me and for the team. Coming here, we were on a good streak and we wanted it to continue. It's a special night for me, my family. I'd spoken to Thierry before the game and I tried to follow his advice. I'm so happy I've been able to score today. He was then asked about that goal celebration. He said before the match, I said to myself that I had to do this. So I scored tonight. I had to celebrate out of respect for Thierry Henry. So Balogun absolutely knows where his roots are there in terms of Arsenal and the great Thierry Henry. And yeah, brilliant to see him doing so well. You want to see these young players going out on loan and really making themselves a success story. And he's doing just that. He's writing his own success story every single week in France by the goals he's scoring and the role that he's playing. And he played really well all last night. It wasn't just about the goal as well. It was his all-round performance. He's just looking like an excellent player. And the loan spell was working out really well for him. Very excited to see what he can continue to do between now and the end of the season. And then, as I said, the interesting thing is what are Arsenal going to do with Balogun next season? Let me know what you want to see Arsenal do with Balogun. Should they keep him next season? Do you think he's ready for a proper go with the first team? Or do you think they should probably sell and look to get as maximum profit as they possibly can out of him in the summer? Personally, for me, I'd like to see him come back and have a go at it. But we shall see how that all pans out. As I said, everyone, anything that happens between now and deadline day, of course, I'll be all out on my social media channels and on goal.com as well, so keep your eyes peeled for everything that's going on. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll have some stuff for Arsenal, from Arsenal to write about, but we shall see. The clock is ticking. Have a fantastic day, everyone. I'll speak to you soon.